What's up, YouTubers? Johnny DIY here. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to build a sturdy wooden fence gate that won't sag. If you guys are new to my channel, do me a favor, click the subscribe and the notification bell so you can get all my new videos. Alright, let's get to it. Okay, so this is what we're going to be using today. I've got my 6-foot redwood pickets, and then we've got a few studs and our screw gun and our saw. I'll make sure I put links down in the description to all the tools and supplies I use throughout the whole video. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do if you're replacing a gate, go ahead and measure the width of that gate. If you're building a gate from scratch for the first time, you're going to want to measure in between your mounting points and take a measurement at the top and at the bottom. Then you're going to take the smaller of those two measurements. Then you're going to want to make the width of your gate a 1/2 inch to an inch smaller than the opening of the gate. That'll allow your gate room to swell up during the wet and rainy months. Do yourself a favor, if you're building the gate and post from scratch, make the width of it an even amount of pickets. Looks like I'm going to have to rip off 3/4 inch of one of these pickets. So you could use a table saw, or I'm just going to use this little rip guide on my circular. Now we'll go ahead and do 2 straight cuts of our 2x4s. That's going to be the total width of our gate, those 2 pieces. That's where our hinges are going to attach to. Okay, so since the post I'm hanging it on is pretty short, I'm having to put these supports kind of close together. Usually you'd put the top one more towards the top. I think I'm going to have to add one more on the top. Now we're going to cut the piece of 2x4 to make the basic Z shape. That's what's really going to give the gate rigidity and keep it from sagging. So this is the inside of the gate, and this right side is the hinge side. We want the support coming down from the opposite side of the hinge side. So let me show you on the old gate. Here is the hinge post side. We want the support like that. Doing it this way is if you had a wire and you wanted to lift the bottom of the gate up if it was sagging, you'd do like a wire and turnbuckle. So we're just going to lay the stud over. We're going to line it up in this corner down here. Then we're going to take a straight edge and we're going to line it up with our cross supports. Then we'll go ahead and mark that angle to cut. Do yourself a favor and make the marks long at first. We can always come back and trim them so they'll have a real nice fit. Okay, I've got it a nice fit. I've got all my cuts done, and what I've done is just laid it out. And what I like to do is I like to just tack it together on this side first and then flip it over and do the rest of the screws. I'll just put 1 screw in per picket right in the middle. It just makes it so much easier assembling it on this side and then flipping it over and finishing. Then try to line up all the framing and put the pickets on top. I always like to pre-drill so you don't end up splitting the pickets. Spend a couple extra bucks and get these Torx head star bits. They really work great, they never slip. And then for the Z brace, I like to just toenail it right here. We're using 2-inch screws for the pickets and 3-inch for these. Suck that in nice and tight. Got the boards a little wet because they're really dry, so that helps them from splitting. Then I went ahead and clamped a scrap piece of wood to use as a guide for our screws so we can get a nice clean straight line. Time to put these hinges on. Go ahead and find the center of the stud we're going to be putting it in. And we can center the hinge on that line. Then I'll go ahead and mark the holes with our screw. Mount the hinges with these lag screws. Pre-drill. But not too big of holes. Then I like to rub the lags on candle wax before putting them in. You could also use bar soap. This will make them go in like butter. You're going to be careful not to drive them in too long, or you end up wallowing out the hole and they won't grab on as much. I usually like to finish them off with the ratchet. That way you can really feel the amount of tension you're getting on them. Take down this old worn out gate. Okay, now before we set the gate, I went ahead and put a couple shim blocks underneath. It's a good idea to set the gate on top of this. You don't want the gate resting on the floor. I'd say you want about 2 to 3 inches underneath the bottom of your gate. And you don't want the non-hinge end over there to end up dragging on the floors. Make sure we get it level before we put our lags into the post. Gonna pre-drill, driving our long lags. Put on our gate latch. Okay, now I suggest where your latch is going to meet the clasp. You want to mount it so it's all the way at the bottom of the clasp. Gotta put a hole for our string to go through so we don't get locked out if we use it on the other side. May as well put a handle on it too. Alright, so I think it turned out pretty nice, don't you think? Hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up for me. And if you're new to the channel, do me a favor and please subscribe and click the notification bell so you can get all my new videos. Thanks for watching Johnny DIY. Keep on doing it yourself, guys. Take care.